Hop on a plane to Florida, visit the dentist for your annual checkup, or simply take a walk down the street. These seemingly unrelated actions all have something in common. It's called radiation. Every second now, 5 cosmic particles are hitting my hand. We're constantly exposed to radiation, either from natural sources, such as sunlight or cosmic rays, or through life-saving medical... I'm walking down a shaft at the heart of the Weizmann Institute's Particle Accelerator, where a team of physicists, led by Professor Amos Breskin, have come up with a surprising twist to tackle this key medical challenge.
Hi, come and join me. Cells. And here we have a problem. You know that the DNA has a double-strand structure. If we irradiate this molecule with a dose which is too low, we will break only one of the strands of the DNA, and therefore the DNA will be able to repair itself. So here we are crossing the experimental hall of the accelerator, which is a giant machine, generally used by physicists to explore the basic structure of matter.
On other fronts, the new application may help set safety standards for exposure from other radiation sources, such as those encountered in the workplace or during routine X-rays. Our next story is about cooperation and communication. How these basic principles were embraced ages ago by the simplest of creatures. They live in our mouths and digestive system, and will probably receive little attention were it not for some of their fellow species who reward us and other hosts with a sweep of unsavory diseases. These include dysentery, which infects 50 million people worldwide each year, mostly through polluted water. Professor Mittelman, what makes amoeba so successful?
Simple. Amoeba don't need a partner to reproduce. Amoeba actually reproduce asexually. If you have a cell, it will first multiply its genetic material, which is in the nuclei, and then slowly start forming a narrow waist until the cell divides into daughter and mother cell.
Such an efficient reproductive process, it's hardly surprising they infect so many people.
Well, there's a very violent 5 minutes during which the cell builds up its muscle and cuts itself in two. And we were wondering how, on a molecular level, a single cell can make such a complex task.
So that's why you started growing live cells in a physics lab.
Precisely. And we preferred amoeba because their shape, their motions, quite simple, quite elegant. That's what also made it much easier for us to study them.
And amoeba multiply quite quickly, as you know.
The two scientists met here at Charlie's place, and learning they were working on two sides of the same coin, mapped out a strategy for collaboration.
We studied the physical processes in cells and brought the amoeba from Professor Mittelman's lab and just put them inside. One day one of the students came to me saying I should come immediately because something very unusual was happening in the lab.
One night, during an ordinary watch in the lab, a student witnessed a phenomenon that had never been seen before. This study may contribute to future therapies that fine-tune migration processes, enhancing beneficial immune responses while blocking the spread of cancer. The concept of superconductivity was born back in 1911, and with it, over time, fantasies about super-fast trains flying on magnetic cushions and life-saving medical scanners and, well, a lot more besides. One scientist working to make this fantasy a reality is Professor Elie Zeldof of the Weizmann Institute of Science.
Hi, David.
Professor. So, what puts the super in superconductivity?
Well, you have to keep in mind that any electrical wire, even the best one, has some finite resistivity. Up to 140 Kelvin, which is about minus 200 Fahrenheit.
Oh, that's very cold.
I can demonstrate you some superconductors in the lab.
Absolutely.
You're welcome. All right, so take this piece of magnet, and this is a superconductor here. It's cold.
Yes.
See how they react to each other. Yeah, try to force it in. It's pretty hard. So actually what you are doing, you are forcing magnetic field into the superconductor. It's pretty hard.
It is, yes. Looks as if it'll go on spinning forever.
Theoretically true, but in practice it works only at low temperatures.
The as yet unreachable goal of a resistance-free electro world. And those hovering trains.